um, there's an Inspector General report from NASA about Artemis spacesuits, which yeah, today's gonna be a big poop sandwich for space news, guys. Yeah, it's gonna suck. But we'll go through it and we'll try to understand. So I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to grab some food. I'll switch us over to science and technology. Once again, I'm stopping Beam just a little bit early because, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So I will be back in probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes. I'm just going to grab something to eat, and then we'll get to it. Stick around. Plenty more stream left. Yeah, we also have the NG-16 launch, the Antares launch. That's right.
No one throttle up.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Space News segment. It's gonna be a fun day here. Yeah. It's gonna be a little. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be one of those Space Newses. That's why I decided to start it a little bit early. So yeah, exactly, Graph Shark. Yeah. So now the Government Accountability Office released the full report on the Human Landing System program and where it's at, and then on top of that, there's an Inspector General report about the spacesuits for the Artemis missions. Today's gonna be a bad news space news day. They do come every once in a while, so close the door. Primo, why'd you leave this open? Primo, this is your fault. All right, so it's gonna be a it's gonna be one of those days. So what I'm gonna do is basically save all the bad stuff for last. But we are going to end the space news on a good note with the Antares NG-16 launch. So we do have some stuff to get through, so let's go. On a bad space news day, 2024 is dead. Yeah, just, I mean, I had a theory that this would happen, man. Well, we'll get into it. So, all right. So, we'll start off with everything else. So, IBX announced that Steve Jurczyk, former NASA acting administrator, basically the guy that served as NASA's administrator between Jim Bridenstine and Bill Nelson, was hired as the executive vice president of space operations. His leadership and outstanding experience will ensure we continue to revolutionize space and energy sectors. I'm not actually really sure what IBX does. We are IBX, okay? An innovative and investment for. Okay. An innovative and investment firm committed to advancing the state of humanity and human knowledge. We explore frontiers in space, tech, and energy. Okay. Check the second tweet in this thread. In his new role, Jurczyk will advise space initiatives across all IBX-affiliated companies. Oh, Axiom Intuitive Machines. IBX is just... Okay. Okay. basically, okay, yeah, venture capital, space venture capital, got it. Okay. Don't stare into his eyes. I'm serious. You will disintegrate. Don't do it. You're doing it. Just look at me. Just look at me. Don't look at Steve. Look at me. Don't look into his eyes. I'm telling you, you will feel yourself disintegrating. I stared in the trap, Ray. Don't do it. Should have listened. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Well, that's good. Good for Steve. That's cool. He recently retired from NASA, so. Mr. EJ, I don't feel so good. So this next one's coming from Mike Sheets here. Let's see what we got. Mike Sheets is the reporter for CNBC. He's the space correspondent over there. The U.S. Space Force's Space and Missile Systems Center adds ABL, Astra, and Relativity to the OSP-4 Rapid Launch Program, making them eligible for future contracts. The OSP-4 companies are as follows: SpaceX, ULA, Rocket Lab, Virgin Orbit, Northrop Grumman, Astra, ABL, Firefly, Relativity, Exbo, and Avium. Astra. Yeah, Relativity. Nice. Space and Missile Systems Center notes that OSP-4 requires companies to be able to deliver payloads greater than 180 kilos or 400 pounds to any orbit within 12 to 24 months of a contract award. I'm already dead inside, so that doesn't mean so much to me. Yeah, okay. OSP-4 stands for Orbital Services Program 4, Indefinite Delivery, Indefinite Quantity IDIQ contract to ABL Space Systems Corps, Astrospace, and Relativity. OSP-4 allows for rapid acquisition of launch services to meet mission requirements for payloads greater than 400 pounds, enabling to launch any orbit within 12 to 24 months from the task order award. The RSLP will compete each mission along the IDIQ awardees. Okay. The addition of these emerging providers preserves, stimulates, and enhances the small launch industrial base and yields the Space Force a device vendor pool in support of the nation's defense. Okay. More space news. Yeah, I already have that open. It's over here. Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Good. What's the demand for urgent small satellite launches? Enough that the Space Force wants to bring a lot of people in to support that industrial base. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, guys, that's more money for spaceflight, more money for the commercial industry, and more money for spaceflight is not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually a pretty good thing. That's what we want. So I'll roll with it. All right. So let's see what we got over here. Next bit of news here is coming from ULA. The low Earth orbit flight test of an inflatable decelerator, Lofted, is scheduled to launch on an Atlas V next year. NASA and ULA are dedicating the Lofted mission in honor of Bernard Cutter, manager of advanced programs at ULA, who passed away last year. Oof. Cool. So, Lofted is an inflatable heat shield, guys. That's, yeah, see? This part is in KSP. Yeah. Cool. Happy Antares launch day, Joe. Yeah, there you go. Are you there? I should have gone, but it's okay. I thought urgent launchers meant sooner than 12 months, let alone 12 to 24. MC, in the scheme of things, 12-month launch means 12 months for us to build the payload and 11 months for us to build the payload and 1 month for you to get ready. Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah. Is it filled with some gas? I think so. Yeah, that's really quick for spaceflight, dude. No, unfortunately, I moved back into campus this weekend. Too tight of a schedule. That's all right. I mean, I wasn't there, so we'll just watch on the telly. Watch on the telly. A little bit of a teaser from Rocket Lab. Also, Peter Beck said that Neutron looks nothing like the render put out on the site in the initial announcement because we were sick of people copying us all the time. I never knew the Germans were building a rocket. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, everybody's trying to get into the small sat market, man. It's very interesting. Okay. So this next bit is coming from Intuitive Machines. Three-peat. Intuitive Machines selects SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket for the third moon mission. Intuitive Machines continues its mission to build a cislunar economy with the third mission, IM-3, to the moon that will launch on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. We're offering our customers more than lunar surface payload delivery and extreme surface mobility. Our turnkey solution for delivering, communicating, and commanding customer payloads on and around the moon is revolutionary. Now we're proving we can do it at an annual cadence. Nice. The IM-3 mission includes a Nova C-class lander to land 130 kilograms of payloads on the lunar surface. It also has excess capability on the launch vehicle that accommodates 1,000 kilograms of payloads on a rideshare dispenser ring that deploys into a lunar transfer orbit. Intuitive Machines' rideshare option puts customers in a high-energy orbit to efficiently proceed to lunar capture, redirect to points elsewhere in a high Earth orbit, or depart for other destinations in the solar system. Hey, Van. Thanks to Hokie for the gifted sub. Stopping by for your monthly stream interruption. All right, man. How you doing? Yet another CLPS going to SpaceX for the SpaceX Lunar Program. I mean Artemis program. Yeah. Yeah. Is there a March market for small sats, though? It's like 10 rockets dedicated to it. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't have that many people fielded for OSP-4 if there wasn't. Let me put it to you like that. I wish everyone was getting into the manned spaceflight market. Yeah. Yeah. Also, apart from one, every lunar mission is using Falcon 9. Yeah. I have thoughts, but we'll wait until the GAO report. Or if you don't want to hear what I have to say, that's fine. We'll just go to the next news. So this is coming from Andrew Jones over at Space News. Andrew Jones reports on what the Chinese space program is doing usually. Let's see what we got here. China's main spacecraft maker is developing a human landing system for lunar missions, according to an account of an official academic visit. The brief news report from Xiamen. No, it's not Xiao. It's Xiamen University School of Aeronautics and Astronautics, July 1st, named individual leading projects pertinent to China's human lunar landing plans and notably refers to the landing project as a national strategy. China is already known to be developing and testing a new launch vehicle and a new generation spacecraft capable of sending astronauts to the moon. A lunar landing and ascent system has one of the missing key components of a human lunar landing architecture. The report names Yang Lei as chief commander of the crewed lunar landing vehicle system at the China Academy of Space Technology, a subordinate to the state-owned space and defense contractor China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. No details of the lander were provided during the meeting, in which current progress and future plans for human moon landings were presented. A number of slides were published, but were intentionally blurred out. An illustration from September 2020 Chinese Spacecraft Conference provides information on one concept that was presented as part of a moon landing wider architecture. No pictures. Okay. The characterization of the human moon landings as a national strategy appears to be unprecedented. While indicating some levels of national support for the project, its significance remains ambiguous. The School of Aeronautics and Astronautics release states that the school will thoroughly implement the spirit of General Secretary Jinping's important speech. That was on the 100th anniversary of the CCP, excuse me. Guides teachers to actively participate in scientific research activities of the National Crewed Lunar Moon Landing Strategy and contribute to the realization of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. However, a human lunar landing project was not specifically identified in China's 14th five-year plan approach in March. China will later in 2021 release a fifth space white paper detailing priorities for the 5 years ahead. The document could indicate in detail further plans and support for lunar landings. Ongoing projects indicate China is gradually accumulating the capabilities, experience, and expertise to conduct such missions. Huh. Interesting. So they want to do it, but they don't have any hardware yet. But they're working on it. So if that does become a national priority, I don't think they're going to make it anytime soon, dudes, to be honest. Maybe by the end of the decade. I mean, they do have they have good spaceflight capability. The Chinese do. The station and the capsules and stuff, but sending the station into low Earth orbit is one thing. Going out to the moon is a whole nother. And I'm not saying that they won't do it. I mean, I know if they put their minds to it, they'll absolutely get it done. China has been the Communist Party for 100 years. That's longer than I thought. There is a caveat to that, James. So a little bit of Chinese history. Chinese Communist Party started in 1921, okay? It started there, and then China had a huge internal strife, basically until 1949. There was a lot of civil war going on between the different... There's a fly. Got him. Between the different parts of China. So the conflict basically centered around what's called the Kuomintang and the Chinese Communist Party. So there was the nationalists and there's the communists. They're freaking fly, dude. What the heck is that thing? It's not a bee, that's for sure. Ever since I taped that all off, there's been no bees in here, so that's good. Joe, I know you know this. So basically there was a lot of internal strife in China throughout the 20s and the 30s between the communists and the nationalists, right? And then the Japanese invaded in 1937, if I'm remembering correctly. The Japanese invaded, and that really screwed things up. And it's funny because the nationalists and the communists had to actually ally. There's pictures during World War II of Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the Chinese National Party, and Mao Zedong, who's the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, working together to fend off the Japanese. We helped them. The U.S. helped them. There were Americans that were fighting for China in the war before the U.S. got involved. That's the whole Flying Tigers thing, which is very, very interesting part of history. And so after World War II and the Japanese surrendered, they all went home, and China basically the Civil War kept going until 1949. And in 1949, the communists drove the nationalists off of mainland China and over to Taiwan. And they kind of had a ceasefire from there. Not really a ceasefire, but yeah. So the nationalists have been in Taiwan since, and the communists control mainland China. It's a great Rule 8 situation. It's been like that for a long time. So the Communist Party has been around for a longer time, but China's mainland as a whole hasn't been under one party control for all of that time. Yeah, Zizep, I saw that. Mink, 26-month resub. So, I haven't covered that, Jordis. No. Let's just say they both fought against the Japanese boxing. We'll leave it at that. So, yeah, that's what's going on, and it's a territorial dispute that goes on to this day. Mainland China thinks Taiwan is part of China, and Taiwan thinks they're not part of China. Dude, it's this whole big Rule 8 poop sandwich. Yeah, big Rule 8 poop sandwich right there. If you want to read about it, go do it, but that's the extent of which I'm going to talk about it, and we'll go on to the next news. And then for the longest time, there was special administrative regions, actually. There was Macau and Hong Kong. And then in 1998, they turned Hong Kong over to China. The British did, because they had a treaty that said that they signed in 1898 that said they would occupy Hong Kong for 100 years. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, there's a whole, yeah, it's it's a delicate situation over there. We'll just say that and we'll move on. All right, so let's keep going. Are you ready for September 10th? Yeah, I guess. Mac Jones. All right, next bit of news here. This is also coming from Space News. Lockheed Martin takes aim at satellite servicing market. This is by Sandra Irwin. Let's see what we got. In a demonstration, Lockheed Martin plans to show how small satellites can be used to upgrade constellations or provide life extension services. Lockheed Martin plans to launch 2 CubeSats later this year to demonstrate how small satellites can service other satellites on orbit. A pair of 12U CubeSats have completed environmental testing and will launch as early as this fall to perform a demonstration in geosynchronous orbit called Linus, short for Lockheed Martin In-Space Upgrade Satellite System. Yeah, there's Limnus. Okay. The intent is to show how small satellites can be used to upgrade constellations or provide life extension services like refueling. Cool. Yeah, I mean, Joe, some people know more about that than others. You know what I'm talking about? Linus will be the first step qualifying this technology. The company's near-term goal is to service the next generation of global positioning satellite systems known as GPS 3F that use Lockheed Martin's LM-2100 satellite bus platform. Cool. Neat. CubeSat satellite servicing. Pretty neat. Okay. There's a couple more things. Jordis, Perseverance News. Assessing first Mars sampling attempt. I'm pretty sure Perseverance tried to sample and it didn't work. I'm pretty sure the sample collector failed. But let's read real quick. I'll add that in here. NASA's Perseverance team assessing first Mars sampling attempt. Okay. Data sent to Earth by NASA's Perseverance rover after its first attempt to collect a rock sample on Mars and seal it in a sample tube indicate that no rock was collected during the initial sampling activity. Hang on one second, guys. So, okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, I got it, Bree. Something about that. All right. The rover carries 43 titanium sample tubes and exploring the Jezero crater, where we'll be gathering samples of rock and regolith for future analysis on Earth. Well, this is not the hole-in-one we hope for. There's always risk with breaking new ground. Oh, wait. Dr. Z said that. Well, this is not the hole-in-one that we had hoped for. There's always risk with breaking new ground. I'm confident that we have the right team working this, and we will persevere towards a solution to ensure the future success of the mission. And if you think I'm trying, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Dr. Z is amazing. EJ, that's finished. You're finished. Got him. So the sample collector looks like it didn't work right off the bat, but I'm sure they'll tweak it. I mean, that's why they have a lot of sample tubes, you know?
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What is this? Give me 1 second. I'm getting messages left and right now. How about the sound of the engine in Binky? They never started it, Tessa. What are you talking about? There's a nice hole that they drilled into the surface right there. Huh, yes, this is a hole in the ground. I know I was trolling you before. You got me. You really got me there, man. Ah, no, perfect place to have poop. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Give me 1 second. I gotta reread this message one more time. Cool. All right. Could that have been a half hole? I don't know. So NASA's okay. So let me refocus here. So Perseverance tried to do a sample collection and it didn't work right off the bat, but they'll get it. They have 30 plus sample collectors, so hopefully they get it on the next try here. So okay. Brace yourselves. Bad news is coming. Alright, let's see what we got here. So this is the first one. Let's see what we got. So this is coming from Mike again. Poop sandwich time? Oh yeah. Hey Elro. Alright, so this is coming from Mike Sheets again. NASA's Inspector General says delays in spacesuit development are another factor making a 2024 astronaut moon landing impossible. With $420 million spent and another $625 million expected, suits won't be ready for flight until April 2025 at the earliest. All right, let's read. Oh, good. It's 41 pages. Elon said SpaceX could do it if need be. Okay. Yeah, that's an important thing to understand. These guys, the Office of Audits, they are always very negative, to say the least. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, exactly, Dish. All right. What we found. All right. What did you find? NASA's current schedule is to produce the first 2 flight-ready XEMUs by November of 2024, but the agency faces significant challenges in meeting this goal. When is that not the case, dude? As if there's anything here that's easy to do. Like, this is why I freaking can't stand these things, man. Alright, the schedule includes approximately a 20-month delay in delivery for the planned design, verification, and testing suit, 2 qualification suits, an ISS demo suit, and 2 lunar flight suits. These delays, attributable to funding shortfalls, COVID-19 impacts, and technical challenges, have left no schedule margin for delivery of the 2 flight-ready XEMUs. Given the integration requirements, these suits would not be ready for flight until April of 2025 at the earliest. Moreover, by the time 2 flight-ready XEMUs are available, NASA will have spent over $1 billion on the development and assembly of its next-generation spacesuits. Yeah, bio, right? I have thoughts, but I'll keep them to myself until later. Given these anticipated delays, in spacesuit development, a lunar landing in late 2024, as NASA currently plans, is not feasible. I have thoughts. I have thoughts. That said, NASA's inability to complete development of the XEMUs for a 2024 moon landing is by no means the only factor impacting the viability of the agency's current return to the moon timetable. For example, her previous audit work identified significant delays in major programs essential to a lunar landing, including the Space Launch System and the Orion capsule. Moreover, delays related to lunar landing development and the recently decided lander contract award bids protest will preclude a 2024 landing. Yeah. I don't trust any paper that doesn't use justified text. The right edge of these paragraphs is killing you. Well said, man. Well said. As spacesuit development continues, evolving and competing requirements for key program stakeholders such as HLS, ISS, and Gateway increase the risk of future cost, schedule, and performance. Additionally, prior to their use on the ISS and Artemis missions, astronauts will require suits for training. However, training needs across the stakeholders, particularly the ISS and HLS programs, do not align with the projections of when suit hardware will be available. Specifically, the EVA office is concerned that there will not be sufficient quantities of training hardware available for early training events to support the current planned 2024 Artemis 3 mission. As NASA continues to develop and mature its next-generation spacesuit capabilities, the agency must decide on its approach to procuring additional suits for both the ISS and Artemis missions. In October 2019, NASA issued an RFI to determine industry capabilities to fulfill future spacesuit needs. At that time, NASA intended to initiate a hybrid contract consisting of a single prime contractor for integration and multiple awards for the development and sustainment, known as the Exploration Extravehicular Activity Production and Services contract. However, after 18 months, NASA canceled the XEVAPS RFI and issued a new RFI in April of 2021 for the Exploration Extravehicular Activity Services significantly altering its approach for future suit acquisition by purchasing services instead of equipment. Oh, Jesus Christ. I have thoughts, but I'll save that for later. As previously discussed, to date, NASA has spent more than $420 million on spacesuit design and development, but the new XEVAS RFI gives industry the choice to either leverage NASA's designs or propose their own. Therefore, the extent to which NASA's investments will be utilized is unclear. Additionally, the XEVAS RFI does not stipulate that the suit will be compatible with both the ISS and Artemis program. Who the hell wrote this? Who came up with this RFI? I want to punch them right in the freaking face. Seriously. This is the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life. Wow. 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 God, this... Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Woosa! 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 Okay. Additionally, the XVAS RFI does not stipulate that the suit be compatible with both the ISS and Artemis programs, a distinction that could result in industry developing and NASA purchasing two different spacesuits. One for use in low Earth orbit on the ISS and another for use on the lunar surface during Artemis missions. Given the station's limited expected lifespan, developing a suit solely for the ISS may not prove cost effective. Who the hell came up with this shit? Oh my god, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Oh my, who wrote that RFI? I'm gonna hit them right in the face, really freaking hard. I gotta time myself out. I'm sorry. I gotta... So, essentially, let me boil this down to a crucible here. If you're confused as to why I'm like, if you're confused here, so NASA's basically saying, the suits probably won't be ready by 2024 because we decided in 2021 to change the suits for a mission, to change the requirements for the suits in a mission in 2024 to make sure that commercial providers could make a suit so we could save some money. But they're probably not going to be ready because we decided to change it. Did I get that right? Did I sum that up? The suits won't be ready because we decided to change it now, so the suits won't be ready. But we saved $30 billion. It's literally that again, Draco. This reads exactly like the Augustine Commission. Well, Constellation isn't feasible. The reason why Constellation isn't feasible is because we didn't fund it. But that doesn't mean that we should fund it now because it's not feasible. And since it's not feasible, we should fund something else because it's not feasible because we underfunded it. That's literally what this is. Plus, wouldn't a lunar suit have different needs than the one operated solely in space? Yeah, but if you make one suit that can do everything, Biz, you don't... Yeah, that suit will be a little bit more complicated, but you only need to make one suit. Why did they change it? If you didn't change it, it would be on time. Did I, like... Let me read that again. However, after 18 months, NASA canceled the EVAPS RFI and issued a new RFI in April 2021 for the Exploration Extravehicular Activity Services, significantly altering its approach for future suit acquisition by purchasing services instead of equipment. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, Hellfish, yeah. It's clown shoes, man. Hey guys, I got an idea. Let's change the spacesuits for our space program where we need the spacesuits in 3 years and it costs 4 years to engineer a spacesuit. Yeah, that's literally what... I don't mind, you know what, in this case, the Investigator General, yeah, no wonder they audited this, because they looked at that and said, no, that's stupid. Oh, dear. I want to know who approved of that RFI. So stupid. Oh my goodness. I've read a lot of dumb things in my day, but that one tops it. That was pretty frigging stupid. This is Constellation tier stupid. Like Constellation cancellation tier stupid. This is dumb. Dude, what do I say? Every single freaking time some moron comes along and says someone can do it for cheaper, they've been 100% wrong. Every time we say, oh, commercial can do it cheaper, we've ended up with net less capability. Every single freaking time. Even if somebody can do it cheaper, you're still lesser off. Great. Good. So was it worth it? No. This is Bush League. That's Bush League stuff, man. It's Bush League. This is amateur hour, man. It's really stupid. I think Elon is 100% right on this one. Seems like too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah. NASA's Kathy leaders wrote the agency response to the Investigator General, concurring with each of the 4 recommendations. NASA intends to perform a demonstration prior to the first Artemis crewed mission with an estimated completion date of 2022. What does Mike say? There are 27 different companies supplying the components for NASA's next generation spacesuits. Told you there was bad news today. That legitimately pisses me off. That's so stupid. Jim had a program ready to go. The EVAPS, from what I can read, Jim had a program ready to go that would have been ready by the time Artemis was ready to go. And some dingbat changed it. to farm it out to commercial, and it's not going to be ready in time because they did that, which is just but it seems like they changed. To be fair, all right, to be 100% fair in this regard, it seems like they changed it because they didn't get the funding that they needed to do it. Yeah, Space Orb, I know. It's so stupid. Was there something wrong with the Apollo suits? They seem to work pretty good. Why wouldn't it work fine now if you made some new ones with a few newer bells and whistles? Just saying. Yep. Stupid. This is stupid. This is amateur hour stuff, man. Well, we have the EVMUs, Chem. The EVMUs are the Genesis. Well, not Genesis. They're byproduct of the A7L EVA suits. The EVMUs that we use to work on the space station outside, just like the Russian Orlan spacesuit, those were originally designed for our lunar programs. That's what they were designed for. So the EVMU, or the extravehicular mobility unit, or just EMU for short. The EMUs are basically EVA. They're basically lunar spacesuits. They're not. You have to modify them a little bit, but keep going. What do they recommend? What do you beautiful people recommend? Let's see. How often is the OIG assessment on impacts like this correct? Well, let's see what their assessment is, Genesis. Let's see what we got. To ensure the successful development of the XEMU, we made four recommendations to the Associate Administrator for Human Exploration Operations Mission Directorate, including adjusting the schedule as appropriate to reduce development risk, developing an integrated master schedule to incorporate and align the hardware deliveries and training needs of the dependent programs, and ensuring technical requirements for the next generation suits are solidified before selecting the acquisition strategy to procure suits for the ISS and Artemis programs. Cygnus launch is now at 6:01. Good, we have more time. And 4, developing an acquisition strategy for the next generation spacesuits that meets the needs of both the ISS and Artemis program. Okay. Outlaw Driver had a tip, and this is what was in the tip message to lighten everybody's day. Ford jokes. Nice. All I could afford. Nice. Dude, this is so stupid. Like, look, October 2019. But then again, to be fair, they could have revised it because of COVID or whatever. So, like, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to think why you do this. So they underfunded it, and then they said, fine, we'll farm it to commercial so we can get the funding that we need. And then because they changed it 2 years into development of the program and $400 million in already, no, this is stupid. I'm really getting sick of every time we propose a new program for NASA to do to conduct new science and new ways to do things in space. Some moron comes along and says, "No, we're underfunded. We're not going to be able to do it. If we kept going, this would end up costing this much money. We could save money by doing this." I'm really getting sick of that. Yeah, that's really not okay. We're basically pawning off our national space program to commercial providers. And we're putting NASA's fate solely in the hands of commercial, which is not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. It's like every time you fund an aerospace program or we have a new space program policy or whatever, you know, it always goes over budget, and that's not a bad thing. That's just how aerospace engineering works. I mean, Mission Mode's pretty successfully demonstrated it for the people that watched Kerbal. Look at how long it took to make the SSTO. It took a long time. It took a while to make that thing, but look at the capability that we ended up having. You know, it took a while to make it, but it's a great vehicle. It's a great vehicle, and it does good work. Well, we'll see today. But it's like every time a program goes over budget, they use that as justification for cancellation because the program wasn't funded correctly from the start. But then again, one could argue, how the hell do you know how much it's going to cost? The programs always go over budget. It happens all the time. I think this is stupid. I think changing the RFI in 2021, I mean, at least with the old way, there was a chance that you'd make 2024. Changing the RFI in 2021 and trying to farm the suits out to commercial providers, you're definitely not going to make it now. At least before there was a chance. You went from having no chance. You went from having a little bit of a chance to having no chance because we saved a couple of pennies here and there. Like, that's... You guys got to remember, this spacesuit will be the basis for all of our lunar activity for the next 10 to 15 years. So $1 billion to justify that spacesuit, considering all the time that you get using it on the moon, is not that bad. That's not that big of a deal. More proof that this was never supposed to succeed. Yeah. As a casual, I can't tell what percentage of pissed off you are at the report's characterization versus at the decision to farm out the suits. Change up, I think we're putting weight... If you really want my honest opinion, right? And I love SpaceX, dude. Like, I love all the commercial providers. I really do. I love that there's so much stuff going on. That's really good. I think we're putting too many eggs in the commercial basket, man. I think we're putting way too many eggs in that basket. I do not think this is a good idea. I've been very vocal about this. We are gutting our national space program's capability because commercial can do it for cheaper and offer less capability. Now, the one asterisk to that whole thing is Starship, right? And if Starship starts flying, then, oh man, that would be great. But what? Starship's going to be our end-all, be-all? For everything? For getting to the moon? For getting into space? I don't think that's a good idea either. I don't think that we should become solely reliable on a NASA should become solely reliable on a corporation to get into space. I think that's really dumb. I think that's a very short-sighted decision in the name of saving money, which is really stupid. Yeah, that's a really stupid idea. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I don't really mean to be candid, and I know I sound like a jerk, right? I get it. That's a really dumb thing to do. That's not smart. That's not smart at all. NASA should retain their own capability for deep space exploration missions. And the commercial stuff should be for commercial missions. Yeah. Helium vacuum leak caused the red team to briefly go to the pad for NG-16, which is why the T-0 was delayed. Thanks. Okay. But NASA made the shuttle and then created the commercial market for that. Why can't we do the same for SLS? There's no market beyond low Earth orbit right now, Swishio. That's all. This is like handing all of the defense of the U.S. off to the Air Force and then telling them they come under control of American Airlines. Tessa, that's right. You see how stupid that sounds? Yeah, this isn't a good idea. Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and say it. This is dumb. This is not good space policy, and I'm a little disappointed in Bill, to be honest, because this kind of shit comes from the top. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to swear, but it warrants exclamation because this is not okay. Where is L24? What? Apparently, Bill wasn't in power yet. April 2021? Are you sure? It was right before Bill came on. Steve was acting back then. Bill wasn't the administrator when this RFI came out. All right, cool. All right. Well, at least that's the one kind of good thing that came out about this, because I don't think Bill would have let this fly. Sabotage before you leave? I doubt it. I doubt it, Neo, because most of Jim and everybody that was there from 2016 to 2020, if you catch my drift, left. They all resigned on January 20th. So stupid. We're not gonna make 2024 if we screw around like this. It's pretty. Yeah, Jim came in April 20th. Yeah, exactly. Jim only had 2 years because they freaking. Let's hope Bill and Kathy can fix this. Elon to the rescue, then. Yeah. Let's go through and let's see what else we got. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. I need to stop. I need to stop reading this. I need to stop. me 1 second. Give me 1 second. So, since 2007, which means that the EMU program got carried over. Well, not carried over. Wait a minute. Why would they... Since 2007, NASA spent $420 million on spacesuit development. Going forward, the agency plans to invest $625.2 million more, bringing the total spent on design, testing, and qualification, an ISS demo suit, and 2 flight suits, and related support to over $1 billion through fiscal year 2025, when the first 2 flight-ready spacesuits will be available based on current EVA schedules. As shown below, over these last 14 years, the financial responsibility for next-generation spacesuit technology has been borne by several different NASA programs: Constellation, Advanced Exploration Systems Division, and the ISS. However, in fiscal year 2020, the financial responsibility for the XEVA project transferred to the Gateway program. Figure 6 summarizes spending on the spacesuit development as of December 2020. Why the hell would you compound that cost in here? Why would you compound that cost? We're talking about space, and then write a report about spacesuits for the Artemis program and compound the cost from 3 other programs. Who the hell wrote this? I'm serious. Are you kidding me? When does that make sense? That makes no sense. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would you do that? They're all related? They're not, though. They say that they're not related. Right there. Right there. Oh. Oh, dear. The design carried over through the programs. Yep. Does any of this count as infrastructure? God, I hope so. I suppose because it's just development of next generation suits. It's not specifically towards the Artemis program, even though that's kind of the end goal. I don't think that's smart, compounding the cost like that, but whatever. Dragonheart, I'm trying real hard to understand, but dude, it definitely does. Like, it seems like these papers are written by people who wants to make it look like NASA is a waste of time. The way this is worded makes it seem like NASA is wasting money, which is like, I don't understand how this, I don't know. 18 years of suit development for $1 billion doesn't seem that bad. Yeah, Swishio, that's the other thing. Since 2007. They make it seem like we've spent $420 million on it, like, in the last year, which is just... And then justify that $1 billion cost as some, like, oh, we've spent $1 billion on spacesuits over the last 20 years. Yeah, but we've spent $1 billion on spacesuits. See what I'm talking about? This is Bush League stuff, dude. This isn't okay. This is stupid. Delays in spacesuit development will preclude a 2024 moon landing. Prior to 2019, NASA's schedule for designing, testing, and developing the XEMU was to provide flight-ready spacesuits to the ISS by 2023 and to the Artemis 3 mission by 2028. However, when the timeline for the Artemis 3 lunar landing was accelerated to 2024, NASA was required to fast-track the schedule by 4 years. In preparation for the Artemis 3 mission, in 2019, NASA required the XEVA project to deliver the human-rated XEMU flight suits to the HLS program for integration no later than March 31st, 2023. As of March 2021, that date has been delayed 20 months to November 2024 due to reduced funding for spacesuit development in fiscal year 2021, COVID-19 impacts, and ongoing technical issues. King, stop. Just stop. Please. Please spare me right now. So stupid. Wasn't the 2024 date set in 2017? Why wait until 2019 to move up the suits? I don't know. ...2024 was set in March of 2019. Yeah. The point is the suits aren't expensive, especially for the trillions the U.S. just completely wastes. Yep, okay. This is dumb. This is freaking dumb. I'm not, this is bad. This isn't good. As of March 2021, that date has been delayed 20 months to November 2024 due to reduced funding for spacesuit development in fiscal year 21. In early summer 2020, the XEMU's Delta preliminary design review experienced a 3-month delay to September of 2020. The next major milestone, the XEVA system level preliminary design review, is scheduled to take place in October of 2021. Figure 7 shows scheduled delays for each of the suit deliveries, and NASA expects the XEVA project to experience further delays, but given the slippage to the date, the project has no remaining schedule margin to address the impact. Antares is go for prop load. Oh, sweet. Targeting 6 o'clock. So we still got an hour and 20 minutes to... I mean, we haven't even gotten into the good stuff yet, guys. Yeah, there's a thing on HLS that we have to go through, too. Pretty much, Bray. Yep. And that... Yep. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to say it. The EVA suits were being treated as a job program with no solid deadline until suddenly Artemis had a goal, but by then it was stuck in development hell. And then, when they figured out that it was stuck in development hell, instead of fixing it, they pawned it off to... They're going to pawn it off to commercial. I hate these people. A lot. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot. So, long story short, this is another piece of fallout that we have to pick up from saving $30 billion on the Constellation program, guys. It pretty much goes back to that. Which really still solidifies my theory that the people that decided to cancel Constellation are idiots. Yeah, of the highest caliber. Yeah. Yep. This is so stupid. Have NASA ever done a project in time except for the Apollo program? Well, Mercury and Gemini were on time. Apollo was on time. What's the difference? Deadlines from the start. Constellation had deadlines from the start. And yeah, we may not have hit those deadlines right off the bat, but they're still there. Yeah, Over Thunder, it's clown shoes, man. It's clown shoes, dude. They I mean, once again, guys, it all goes back to Constellation. It all goes back to Constellation. I mean, the Augustine Commission ruling that Constellation was unfeasible, it has been a drum that NASA has been beating, or at least, you know, people that are pro-advocates for commercial, or people that don't like NASA. That's the drum that they've been beating for the last 10 years. And every time this happens, we always end up with net less capability and more commercial activity, which is not a bad thing. That's fine. Yeah, deadline, cost, and capabilities. Pick two. Apollo worked because they didn't choose cost. Well, Pulse, the thing is, we keep playing this stupid circular game, all right? And I don't get it. We keep playing this dumb game. The game that we play is what you said, deadline, cost, and capabilities. So we pick deadlines and capabilities, and then cite cost as a reason to cancel the stupid frigging program. And then when we come up with something to replace it, we do that same thing again. We said, okay, well, we can replace this. We could do this for cheap. And then we pick cost and capabilities, and we have no deadline. And then, because we have no deadline, someone comes in and said, oh, we need a deadline to do this. And then they choose deadline and capabilities. And then some moron comes in a little bit later and says, no, this is too expensive. It's this stupid circular game that we've been playing pretty much since the start of the shuttle program. The second that NASA decided to make a rocket that doesn't have a mission is the second costs, this kind of stuff started skyrocketing. It's this stupid circular game that we play, and once again, they tried to fix it with Constellation. Constellation had concrete deadlines for the next 30 years and a very reasonable schedule for developing rockets and capabilities. And they just didn't do it. They canceled it because it wasn't feasible. EVA suits are deceivingly hard. They are subject to the most disgusting set of safety requirements and potential failure modes, such as needed to be started early and given a really solid goal. Rushing suits in the commercial sector is not a good idea. Yeah, Bray, them pawning this off to 27 contractors instead of one for the entire suit is really going to backfire in our face. Badly. Badly. Oh, that's gonna... Like I said, it's Constellation all over again. Oh, Ares 1 won't be ready on time. It'll probably be a year late. So here, let's put the commercial crew program in there instead, right? And what we'll do with the commercial crew program is we'll have that instead as an alternative, right? We'll have it there as an alternative, and it'll be more cost efficient. When will it be ready? Oh, yes, it will be ready sometime. Years later. Oh, guys, this is gonna backfire. It's gonna backfire in NASA's face. All this pawning off of NASA's technical resources to commercial, even if it is SpaceX, and I love SpaceX. That's fine. If you're gonna do it with them. But, dude, SpaceX might not always be there. It might be somebody else. I mean, SpaceX is the anomaly to this rule, and it's an anomaly because Elon actually has the company has their own internal goals. Look at Starliner, fellas. Like, and I'm not trying to dump on Boeing either, but would commercial crew be as much of a success as it is if it wasn't for SpaceX? Like, David Clark, Jim, they're still around. They're a contractor for this now, yeah. Yeah, Sav, this is dumb. I really, really hate it when any NASA program or an audit or a GAO report comes along and cites cost as the reason for, as if any aerospace program is on time nowadays. Like, yep, Prey. This is not sustainable again. The only sustainable way forward, dude, is having a NASA program and a SpaceX program for checks and balances. We cannot keep pawning our resources off to commercial every time something goes wrong with a program. This is getting to be a little bit annoying. It's not a good idea, and it's not going to end well. It's not going to end. I'll read the rest of this later. It's not going to end well. I'll tell you that right now. Kim, hey man, what are these? Yeah, we'll check those out in a second. Do you think that any of these GAO reports dumps on Army development for being hugely off budget? Yeah, Swishio, there is. I always wonder how a 3D modeler can see these problems, but the pencil pushers are just blind to it. Well, Van, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, dude. I always advocate for more space flight, and dude, there's no one who... Van, here's the thing, okay? All these people sit here and they justify cost. They justify cost. And in any other scenario, that's fine. But can you put a price on science? Can you put a price on scientific understanding? Van, I'll be honest. You know what? And I'll be completely blunt in this regard. I don't care if it's going to port projects. I really don't. I really don't give a frick. There's no one out there that can convince me that less money for NASA is better for NASA. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, and Van, you know, I've worked in customer service in retail, man. I've heard stupid things before. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, and once again, I don't like being candid about this. You think I like coming on here and making everyone's day worse? Like, yeah, I think not. Investing in the future is the most important thing we can do right now. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's very short term, very short-sighted, dude. It's disappointing. My day is worth. You've just lost faith in our team, yeah. It's the stupidest thing, dude. And we've been playing this stupid freaking game for 10 years. And then the only thing I can really attribute it to is maybe vocal minority. I don't know. Now, you bought a thing of chapstick and the twisty thing didn't work. I had to scoop it out with your fingertip and smear it on your lips. Your day can't get any worse. Ugh. Oh, jeez. I thought my day was going bad. Yes, God. Well, Bandit, you know what, man? I'm not too incredibly mad at the Investigator General here. I'll be really honest with you. I'll be honest with you. The Investigator General is right to sound the alarm with this. Because they looked at it and said exactly what we said. What? Wait, what? You're doing what? Why would you do this? Oh, God. And they're like, no. I'm calling BS. This needs to be audited immediately. Good on the Investigator General. That guy's doing his job. As opposed to the other guys at NASA. You know? Playing devil's advocate for a moment. If you think you know the real truth, why don't you go to the GAO and tell it? Well, the Investigator General, basically, why did he write this report in the first place, Swishio? He wrote this report in the first place because he looked at it and said, oh, no, this is stupid. I'm auditing this. This is fishy as hell. And it is. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Lunchbox Guy, 16-month resub. Can this be stopped? Well, the Investigator General, they're going to try and fix it. But once again, you're putting a Band-Aid on a bucket full of water. Eventually it's not going to... On a hole in a bucket full of water. Eventually it's not going to work. You should probably just buy a new bucket. The Apollo suit had to be directly managed by NASA, had 2 suppliers, and spent 3 years in design and 4 years in production. There's simply no possible way the suit even comes into existence with 27 companies trying to put it together. Yep. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Patriot. Hey, I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Yeah. It gets better. Internal News Site had an article about the progress of Starliner's checkouts, complete with a nice CGI picture of it on orbit. One of the commenters, an employee who actually works on airplanes, said, how do they have a picture of it on orbit? Okay. Wow. Yeah. I am going to have to 100% agree with Elon on this one. That's not a good idea. He knows that's not a good idea. The IG knows this is not a good idea. Yeah. This is pretty stupid. Do you think we need the administrator? Do you think the administrator of NASA should be a long-term appointment, say 6 years, by statute to help with continuity across administrations? No, John. Well, that feeds into a bigger thing. And once again, we're talking. Hey, Dad Joke, what's up, man? This feeds into a larger thing. NASA's goals are set by the executive branch. They're set by the president. I mean, and then the House approved. The House approves of funding for said goal, and then the Senate passes it. Right? Like, is there a better way to do that? That doesn't skirt checks and balances? I don't know. The inspector that is at the NASA OIG came in 7 months after the Augustine Commission was announced. Yeah, please tell me you're in janitorial. Dish, it's crazy. How's the new administrator doing, by the way? I feel like when Jim was NASA administrator, I was hearing cool stuff constantly. Bill's doing okay, Van, but we're seeing everything slip. He's doing all right, but NASA basically went back to being hush-hush about things, which sucks. When's the last time we saw a new picture of SLS inside of the high bay? It's 27 companies saying that provide components. Couldn't there still be a main source for the components that are just being filled in by the 27 companies? This morning, Jim, when did you see one before that, man? So, long story short, you guys, there used to be live streams of the VAB. You could watch them put shuttle stacks together. Seriously, live stream of the VAB. They don't do it anymore. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. They don't do it anymore because they sold sold one of the high bays to Northrop Grumman, or leased one of the high bays to Northrop Grumman. My multi-user spaceport. Yeah, how did that pan out? Now, because the Northrop Grumman could potentially be working on ITAR stuff in High Bay 4, NASA can't live stream, and they have to, all their pictures have to go through ITAR of a NASA rocket because NASA pawned off a high bay inside of the VAB. Yeah, Phil, yeah. Mm-hmm. What's ITAR? International Trafficking of Arms. Because Northrop Grumman could be working on top secret stuff inside of the VAB, I doubt that they are. They were going to work on Omega in there. But because they are, NASA can't live stream from their own building anymore. Because, landlords are subjective to tenants, right? Not vice versa. God, this whole thing makes me want to slam my head into the wall. Because, in my apartment here, I don't like that my apartment is small. So I'm going to knock down a wall into the next guy over's apartment, right? And then I'm just going to claim that as my own and say that the landlord can't do anything about it, right? Like, freaking clowns everywhere. Oh my God, this is a circus. Okay. Didn't they do it with Apollo to live stream the VAB? Live stream the Apollo. No, they didn't. Streaming was not a thing in the 1960s. It's easy to think we should just make NASA more akin to a state-owned corporation than an executive branch agency, but that's just not how our system works. There has to be more vocal accountability. Deadlines, Prey. Deadlines. Deadlines are the thing. Deadlines are the one. That's the one way to fix this. And honestly, like I said, I'll say it once, I'll say it again, dudes. Canceling Constellation screwed us. Screwed us royally. Because Constellation had set deadlines all the way out to the 2030s. Interim easy deadlines to hit. Ares 1 led into Ares 5's development, and once the development ramped down for those, the development for the lander, once the development for Ares 1 went down, the development for Ares 5 went up. And because Ares 5 used Ares 1's components, the development wasn't as bad. You could get it you could get it done quicker, and then you could use some of that development money and shift it over to a lander, and then you could build a lander for Ares 5, and then you could have Ares 1 operationally going to the ISS, and then you could use an Ares 1 mission to join up with an Ares 5 to go back to the moon, land on the moon, and then build a sustainable moon base there over time in the 2020s. All NASA would have to do is just keep increasing the budget over time to deal with inflation, and that's it. And then they canceled that and replaced it with a program that said we're not going to do anything until the 2030s. Oh, here, have Commercial Crew as a consolation prize. Idiotic. Projected ODM, we would have saved $30 billion. You know what the reality of that is? We're going to spend $30 billion, but we're just going to spend it where we want. That's the reality of that situation. Yeah, it's a constellation prize, you mean? Yep. But how do you really feel about it? Mutter, I'm getting sick of having to, not be candid about this. This is not good, guys. There's nobody here I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Nobody here is going to convince me that less money for NASA is better for NASA. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All right. We're only halfway through. Are we ready for the next one? That 30 billion keeps cropping up. Passing, that was disastrous. That was by far and away the Journey to Mars and canceling Constellation, replacing it with Journey to Mars was by far the worst architecture that NASA has ever devised. Yeah. Jim tried to fix it. He tried to button it up, and even this OIG report about spacesuits shows that they tried to rescale the timelines to be more effective with their money. At least if you're going to spend millions of dollars, you might as well get something out of it, right? Deadlines. Deadlines offer accountability. That's the checks and balance to these programs. You have to complete it by this time, or at least close to it, right? Hang on, give me 1 second. There's no way to skirt around this. Spaceflight is expensive, dudes. It's expensive. There's no getting around it. It's expensive. It's always going to be expensive. It's dumb to think that it won't. Oh. Give me 1 second, dudes. I gotta talk to Scary about something. Here, hang on. I can type it better. Let me just type over here. Trust me on this one. Sorry, it's the background project that I'm working on. Scary is involved.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Trust me, it's a good idea. Hey, Katney, 5-month resub. We've been to the moon. Why is it so hard to go back with 50 years of technical improvements? Robert, because we can't decide on how we want to go back to the moon. It's really annoying, actually. Quick question. Does your master cylinder on the Dodge have a press-on screw cap? It's a screw cap, dude. Secret program to take over NASA? I wish. It's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We can't invent the wheel until we decide what color it should be. Yeah, once again, I told you today was going to be full of bad news. There's more with the Well, actually, HLS probably won't be as bad, but the aliens don't want to return us to the moon. Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm not saying it was aliens. It was aliens. A master cylinder is junk, yay. Yeah, Snap, that's what I was gonna say. The O-rings in your master are no good. If you let it sit, the O-rings go. This happened in the Cornet. Yeah, Delco Masters are no... They're not expensive, dude. Don't you worry about aliens. Let me worry about blank, yeah, right? There's some good space news today. Double Venus flyby. Yeah, that's true. Can we just fast forward through today? Maybe go to the next chapter? Yeah. Yeah, I know. That, dude, I knew about the OIG report, but that astronaut suit thing, man. You know what? Like, it's good that the Investigator General called it out. Cool. I want front discs, but it's a large wallet humping amount. It always is, dude. Just snap. Don't get it right. Get it running. Just replace the cylinder. Drums are fine. You're not taking it to the track, dude. Like, I mean, unless you are.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Drees, 13-month resub. Yeah, snap. Dude, just get a new master, man. Just get a new master. But yeah, all right. So, sorry about this. This is just kind of a time-sensitive thing, guys. That's why I usually don't interrupt the stream like this. All right, cool. Nothing is more important than space news, you putz. Range safety looking at possible boat that may have interrupted the range. I'm waiting an update on that. Yep. We got about an hour until the Antares launch, guys. So we got to go through the OIG report. Just to make this as clear as possible, this entire report was just an announcement of intent. Then someone who is doing their job has to say, yeah, no, this isn't going through without a fight. So here we are. Well, no, this is saying you guys did this and it's a dumb idea and here's how you need to fix it. Because it's a dumb idea. Yeah, the keyboard's sick, dude. All right. Okay, so I'm going to save the rest of that report for a little bit later. Let's see what else we got here. So, a big one. Here we go. The GAO, Government Accountability Office. About HLS. Oh boy. You wouldn't happen to know how to get rid of a really nasty screeching from the brakes after already replacing the pads, disc, and the caliper. Take them apart and put them back together, Joseph. You didn't put something in right, or whoever worked on it for you didn't put them. They probably didn't put grease on the pads or whatever. Not on the pads, on the pad mounts. You have to do that. They're probably installed incorrectly, or you said they replaced the pad and the rotors and the caliper. It's very unlikely for all three of those things to go bad all at the same time. Just on a side note. If they didn't grease the mounts for the discs, then it's gonna squeak. Yeah. Or the pads are on backwards, foo face. That would suck. Well, in which case you're gonna need new rotors real fast. I already did that several times and even swapped the pads and rotors. Did you grease the rotor mounts? If you don't grease the rotor mounts, it's not gonna work. Or the clips are on wrong. Yeah, something is hitting the rotor that shouldn't be. Yeah, they were greased. Take pictures, post pictures. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Okay. Let's digest some things, shall we? So, this is something that we already knew. Guys, what this basically is the accountability report regarding the hey, Skyless, 23-month resub. This is the accountability report regarding the decision on the ruling for the protests for the HLS program. What does that mean in plain English? Basically, NASA awarded SpaceX with the contract to make their lunar lander for the Artemis missions, and Blue Origin and Dynetics, a Leidos company. You're going to hear that a lot in the next hour. decided they wanted to protest that, citing certain things about, you know, the contract being awarded to SpaceX as not a good idea. You broke the law when you gave SpaceX the contract, etc., etc. So this is going to be full of fun. You ready to have some fun? I'm actually looking forward to this. The spacesuit one pissed me off. That was dumb. But I'm happy that the OIG caught how stupid that actually is. That's pretty cool. I'm really happy the OIG exists now that I'm looking at it. Because, yeah. You know how bad a program needs to go for the people that audit NASA to go, no, that's really stupid. If you ever see anything pop up from OIG, that means it was dumb. It means the program was dumb from the start. Okay. Particularly the April 2021 revision to the RFI. That was really stupid. That was a really dumb thing to do. Anyway, is it true that NASA wants SpaceX to make the EVA suits? Potentially, big body, potentially. All right. The OIG have given me a lot of work to do, so I'm happy they exist too. There you go, man. There you go. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, so digest. Let's digest, and let's wash it down. Significantly higher priced offerers submitting proposals for a demonstration mission for a human landing system for lunar exploration under a broad agency announcement with a preference for 2 awards argue that an agency was required to advise them via an amendment or discussions once the agency learned that it had less funding than it needed to support multiple awards for the effort. We deny the protest because the broad agency announcement expressly put all offerers on notice that the number of awards was subject to available funding, and the agency could make multiple contract awards, a single award, or no award at all. Time to read about the biggest lander ever. All right. Protest. Protest challenging the agency's evaluation of proposals submitted in response to the BAA for research and development are denied because the agency's evaluation was consistent with applicable procurement law, regulation, and solicitation terms. And, to the extent there were any errors, the protesters cannot establish any reasonable possibility of competitive prejudice. No conflict of interest. What's the third one? Nice, Richio. Protest alleging that the agency waived a material solicitation requirement for the awardee is denied because the protesters cannot establish any reasonable possibility of competitive prejudice as a result of the agency's decision to waive the requirement. Subsequently withdrawn consultant application for admission to a
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Jago, and hope all is well. Go Antares, yeah. Protest alleging the agency waived a material solicitation requirement for the awardee is denied because the protests cannot establish any reasonable possibility of competitive prejudice. I already read that. Subsequently withdrawn consultant application for admission to a protective order presented material concerns that the consultant engages in competitive decision making or alternatively presents an unacceptable risk of inadvertent disclosure of protected material. Based on his employment as an executive officer in a nonprofit entity that competes for federal contracts and other financial assistance agreements to conduct research and development in related space and aerospace. I'm not sure what that means, to be honest with you. Pretty much, Sneaky. Yeah. So this one says that, this one basically says Blue Origin and Dynetics, a Leidos company. Seriously, that's their company name. The name of the company is Dynetics LLC, a Leidos company. Leidos owns them. I don't know if you knew that. This one right here basically says that Dynetics, a Leidos company, and the national team said that NASA basically didn't tell them that they changed an amendment to the broad agency announcement saying that they wanted to choose 2 providers, but they basically they said if they don't get the money, they could choose 1, they could choose 2, or they could choose 0. Or if they don't get the money, they could choose 1 or nothing. That's what they changed. They said that they could choose 1 if they needed to. And NASA did amend the broad agency announcement. It sounds like Dynetics and the national team missed that completely. And they said that they argued that NASA should have contacted them directly instead of just changing it. Yeah, that was, conflict of interest right there. The third one is that basically SpaceX didn't meet all the requirements for feasibility. There's long story short, it's complicated. Starship and Lunar Starship and refueling in orbit a bunch of times is complicated. It's a tough thing to do, and NASA waived the result. They said, nah, you don't need to do that. That's fine. Even though we said you needed to do that, you don't need to do that. That was a third part of the protest. That's the part of the protest that I think they said, yes, that's correct. And 4, I'm not 100% sure. What is Leidos? Leidos is a defense contractor. You ever gone to the airport 2020? Done this? In the scanner thingamajig? Yeah, Leidos makes that. Amongst other things. They make all kinds of stuff. Yeah, the GAO agrees with you. It's not their fault that NASA changed the rules. NASA's the dungeon master. They can do whatever they want. Yes, it's a giant game of D&D. David, 25-month resub. Yeah, okay, Buck. No, the launch is... Iceman Tom, the launch is going to happen in about 45 minutes. Never flown like that, okay? They make all kinds of stuff. Let's see. I want to get to the good stuff. Here we go. NASA evaluated 3 proposals submitted in response to the Option A broad agency announcement as follows. SpaceX was acceptable. Management is outstanding. Price is $2.9 million. The national team, acceptable. Management, very good. Price, $5.9 billion. Dynetics, marginal technical feasibility. Management is very good. $9 billion. Yeah, right, Tars? Yeah. Can you zoom in a bit? There you go. Pretty much, Kem. So, another thing that NASA changed is, one of their amendments that they changed is they said you could fund the mission out of pocket. That's why SpaceX's bid is so comparatively low compared to these other ones. Because SpaceX basically picked up that NASA changed the contract. And Elon said, oh, sweet. We can lower our bid by basically a couple $1 billion if I just fund it out of pocket. That's why their bid is so competitively low. Blue Origin missed that. Yeah. Which is why you saw Jeff write a letter to NASA saying that if you field another lunar lander, I'll basically do the same thing and I'll cut that cost in half for you. Which, frankly, NASA would be stupid to not do that. Yeah, they'd be really stupid. And Dynetics is just like, yeah, ours is going to cost $9 billion.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, I know. Actually, Kem, I'm pretty sure they changed it to a non-drop tank design, like at the last second before it got denied. 18 joyful, great moments. Thank you, EJ, for the great times and sad crashes. Hey, it is what it is. We have our ups and downs, just like the space program. What would Dynetics launch on? I'm not 100% sure, Jam. I think they were I think they wanted to launch it on Vulcan, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna go down and see if there's any more infographics, dude, because this is 76 freaking pages. Any more infographics? Oh boy, I got some homework tonight.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
There is a very, very high amount of this that's redacted. Okay. Taz! Hey, thanks for the sub, dude. 39 months. Appreciate it. Random side question. Ever seen The Offspring in concert? They're coming to my area next month and are debating good. Dexter Holland's cool, man. Yeah, no, The Offspring's cool, man. Yeah, Pulse. Can you just hold the screen up against the light to see the redacted info, just like Hidden Figures? Oh, jeez. Alright, let's just go down here, find the conclusion. Oh man, this is a lot of stuff to comb through.
Discovery.
Acted 17-month resub. See last, please. Can you read the first paragraph on page 10? Okay. I was going to say, we could go through the whole thing, but I don't think we have time. Page 10 has the Starship refueling info. Okay. Alright, let's go. It looks like it carries over. So, after recounting these provisions from the SOW... What the hell is SOW? I don't know what that means. Whatever. And milestone acceptance criteria, the contracting officer's negotiations letter to SpaceX invited the firm to make revisions to its proposed flight readiness review milestones. The contracting officer noted that SpaceX's concept of operations anticipated multiple supporting spacecraft, SpaceX's tanker Starship, and launches in addition to the launch of its integrated landing vehicle, SpaceX's HLS Starship. Statement of work. Thank you. Contracting officer noted that SpaceX's concept of operations accepted multiple supporting spacecraft, SpaceX's tanker Starship, and deleted. Huh. Yeah, SpaceX's Starship and... Yep. Let me read it without the parentheses. The contracting officer noted that SpaceX's concept of operations anticipated multiple supporting spacecraft launches in addition to the launch of its integrated landing vehicle. Although SpaceX's concept of operations will require multiple launches, SpaceX had only proposed one overarching flight readiness review for its entire HLS system. Oh, okay, that's different. Okay. The contracting office requested that SpaceX incorporate additional flight readiness reviews to address each of the various launch types contemplated by SpaceX's concept of operations as follows. Given the arguably ambiguous nature of this topic with the Option A solicitation, and the fact that it's the most stringent possible interpretation, FRR no later than 2 weeks prior to the launch of every supporting spacecraft, every individual tanker Starship is a supporting spaceship, is logically inconsistent with the technical approach proposed by your firm, i.e. 14 launches, each spaced only 12 days apart from one another. It is NASA's assessment that in order to meet NASA's intent on its flight readiness review requirement for supporting spacecraft, your firm must incorporate additional flight readiness reviews for and the tanker Starship supporting spacecraft. I think that's referring to this. What, 10? That tweet right here? Turns out that Blue Origin was being nice with their infographic. The official GAO report states that SpaceX requires 14 refuels of the propellant depot in orbit. With the depot and HLS, that's 16 total launches to deliver HLS to lunar orbit. Yeah, exactly, 10. Yeah, I was right. That infographic isn't dumping on SpaceX. It's saying it. Remember, dude, I had this whole thing about it not being for us, remember? It isn't dumping on SpaceX saying that their way is bad. It's just saying that it's high risk. It's higher risk, so it'd be better to field 2 launchers, or 2 landers in this case. See? That's why. It wasn't a knock at SpaceX. Everybody took it that way and took Blue Origin as being petty. But what Blue Origin wants is 2 landers. Because you know what? They're right. It's a lot of stuff to get done. A lot of Starship stuff needs to be made. That's a lot of infrastructure to get done by 2024. Yeah. Yeah, 10, I think that was not supposed to knock SpaceX, but everybody took it that way because reasons. And, yeah. Oh, score. Give me 1 second, dudes. Here, I'll let you guys stare at that infographic for a second. Blue Origin released this, and I'm telling you, this graphic wasn't to knock on SpaceX. It was to say that they needed 2 landers. Redundant architecture is key to sustainability on the moon, which is Blue Origin's stated goal: sustainability in space and growing our economy in space. I don't think there was any ill intention here. Maybe a teeny weeny bit, but yeah, that's the whole point of that. Trust me, this is worth it. Cool. Did you watch the interview by Tim? Yeah, I did, Tom. Yeah, I watched that. People like conflict, of course. How many starships did they prepare for this? Actually, you know what? This thing probably breaks it down as to how many they're going to get, Kem. We should probably check in. Less than 30 minutes until the launch. Thank you. Alright, let's see what else we got. So, this basically says that SpaceX wants one thing to discuss all the missions that they need. They think that they need 1 flight readiness review for 14 launches, and NASA's like, yeah, we don't do things that way. That's kind of funny. There's a launch today? Yeah, we got NG-16, the Antares launch. C-Last, what's up, Savvy? Remember, the only worthwhile measurement of the difficulty of space travel is the number of first. The more times you have to do something for the first time, the harder it will be. Yeah. I wonder what deleted is. You guys think that's the depot ship? What the heck is the depot ship supposed to be? And I'm pretty sure that I know, But just in case somebody here has a little more details on it, what does that mean? What's the depot ship? The range is clear for Antares? Sweet. Yeah, qualified. I think they're only going to have a couple of boosters. Like, why would SpaceX... They're not going to make 12 tankers, are they? No, you'd want a fleet, but you wouldn't want 12. If they have to refuel up to 10 times, right? I would want, like, 4, maybe? Cygnus is now live. Thank you. The depot could just be a tanker that other tankers dock to. Yeah. Yeah, Rogue, pretty much. 4 ships, 2 boosters, Pigzig. Where does it say that? Are you sure? Sounds like it could be an orbital station with tanks docked to it or something. That would be pretty cool. Long duration propellant storage would launch first, then 14 refueling missions, and then the lunar starship meets up with the depot for fueling, and then the depot lands back on Earth. The depot lands back on Earth, dude? Holy crap, this design is hardcore. I like it, man. I think it's cool. It is... Dude, that's going to be really difficult to do. But it is SpaceX, so... You know, how I might think of it. Yeah, Pigzig, I'm kind of with you on that one. I would want a 3rd super heavy just in case one of them fails. Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I would want like 4 tankers or something so you could refresh them in the pipeline. So each tanker only has to do 3, right? Why not just have a permanently orbiting depot? Yeah, that's entropy. That's what I'm like. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're gonna bring it back down, all right? And they have 2.5 years to do it all, dude. That infographic, like I said, Hellfish, that infographic ain't knocking SpaceX. That infographic is saying we need 2 landers if we're gonna be sure about hitting 2024. I agree with them. Same deal. And nobody can convince me that more money for spaceflight is bad for spaceflight, or NASA. I mean, either one. You know. Yeah, that's gonna be really friggin' complicated. Cool, but really friggin' complicated. Yeah, 3 tankers, 3 boosters, a depot, and a lunar starship. Actually, qualified. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'd want 2 tankers would probably be good. The lunar starship and the depot ship. So 4 starships total, right? 2 tankers, so you can swap them out, right? So you can fuel one on the ground and then launch another one. Don't forget a partridge in a pear tree. Yep. I've flown by Wallop so many times, I'd love to watch a launch. Yep. And a partridge in a pear tree. Hellfish Tessa beat you to it. I want us to get to the point of having stations like in Elite Dangerous. Yeah, nuclear. Well, this could be a good start. NASA is live. Yes. XP. More space is good. Yeah. All right. Well, interesting. I mean, this didn't tell us anything we didn't know, guys, but I'll be honest, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm going to save this PDF over here, and I'm going to read that after the stream. Yeah, I'm going to go and read that one after the stream and go from there. Second, dudes. Let's get the stream up here for Antares. Let's go over to NASA TV. All right, I'm gonna bring that up here. There we go. It's a live shot of Antares NG-16 on the pad on pad 0A at Wallop.
Joining us for today's launch broadcast.
No, be quiet. At Wallop's NASA's Wallops Island facility. This is the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport in Virginia. It's in Virginia Beach. This Antares rocket is carrying a Cygnus capsule up there. Cygnus is an unmanned resupply vehicle for the International Space Station. Cygnus is up here in the fairing. And then below that is a Castor 30 XL solid rocket booster, vacuum optimized solid rocket booster upper stage. And then you have the Antares core stage, which is powered by two RD-181s, or just one RD-181, I guess. That's the right way to say it. Russian Energomash engines. They're kind of similar to the engines that operate on the bottom of Atlas V. But a tiny bit different. But yeah, this thing is scheduled to launch in about 30 minutes here, give or take, on a shot up to the ISS. It's launching on the ISS descending node, meaning that this thing is heading southeast instead of northeast. So if you're off the Outer Banks in North Carolina, you should be able to see this thing. And even into South Carolina, too. I'm not going to be able to see it up north because it's flying in the wrong direction from me. So
the Antares 230 Plus vehicle provides substantial payload performance into a variety of low inclination, low Earth and Sun synchronous orbits and interplanetary trajectories. So our Antares has actually been upgraded, our Stage 1 core, which has a lighter composite structure and an optimized second stage motor. The upgraded Stage 1 core allows the Antares engines to perform at full thrust throughout most of the first stage profile. The 230 Plus vehicle also has a cargo mass flexibility in which the Cygnus mass can be defined no later than 24 hours prior to launch. The Antares 230 Plus vehicle also has the ability to perform late load operations by the unique pop-top fairing as the nose of the vehicle is able to remove for the late cargo load.
And opening valve 8021 on my mark. 3, 2.
And the vehicle rolled out to the pad Friday, August 6th. It was then rotated horizontal for some late cargo, like you're saying now, and then it was returned to its vertical position where it sits now yesterday. So, Christina, can you walk us through the cargo late loading process and late load capabilities?
It's on SPMTs.
Sure. So as I mentioned before, one of the unique features of the Antares 230 Plus vehicle is that there is the ability to do a late cargo load 24 hours before launch. The vehicle has a pop-top fairing where the nose of the rocket is able to be removed. Northrop Grumman has also built new specialized ground support equipment that allows us to take the vehicle from vertical, like you see it out the pad, and take it back horizontal, which we did previously.
They ain't baby engines, really. They're RD-191s.
So this allows us to drive
very powerful engines.
Clean room right up to the tip of the fairing, where we are able to remove the pop-top fairing and load time-sensitive research experiments and other perishable items that NASA needs to provide 24 hours before launch. And so with all this talk about cargo, the Antares vehicle is carrying approximately a little over 8,200 pounds of cargo to the space station aboard the Cygnus spacecraft today, which is actually our largest resupply to date. So we're very excited about that. And we at Northrop Grumman, we're really proud of our Antares 230 Plus rocket and the Cygnus spacecraft, and we're dedicated to continue to providing the best value to our customer in support of their critical missions.
And just going off of that, Antares and Cygnus have now been part of the chain of resupply for the International Space Station for several years now. How crucial has Northrop Grumman's role been in contributing to that?
So Northrop Grumman has played a critical role in keeping the International Space Station operational since 2013. And this was apparent with NASA awarding Northrop Grumman 2 additional.
No, there's 2 power heads. It was
continue to deliver.
It's 2 RD-191s.
Such as food.
This core stage is 2 RD-191s, kind of working in tandem. When 2 RD-191s are working in tandem, they call it a 181M. That's Energomash's naming convention. There is 2 power heads for each engine, meaning. It's not an RD-180. An RD-180, like Atlas, has 1 single turbo pump, liquid oxygen turbo pump, and a kerosene turbo pump feeding 2 nozzles. This is 2 kerosene turbo pumps and 2 oxidizer turbo pumps feeding 2 of them each respectively feeding 2 different nozzles. There's 2 engines down there, but they call those 2 RD-191s working in tandem. They call that an RD-181 in this particular case.
About the fueling process?
Yeah,
Tessa, it should be a 382.
I'll just go through the entire ascent, actually. So when Antares, we'll have a stage of ignition at T0, and we'll lift off shortly after. The main engines will burn off for approximately 200 seconds, and that will get us to main engine cutoff, which we call MECO. And then once we get to MECO, we'll go into a short coast right before we separate stage 1 from stage 2, which we call the upper stack portion of Antares. We'll continue to coast a little bit longer, about 30 seconds before fairing separation, and then we'll have an internal separation where the stage 2 flies out of the external upper stack. So once stage 2 is completed of the upper stack, the stage 2 ignites for a 2.5-minute burn that puts Cygnus real close to their orbit. And then Cygnus will coast a little bit to ensure everything is stable, and then Cygnus will be released into the desired orbit. So after Cygnus is released, it will go through comm checks, and then about an hour or so after we separate, Cygnus will release its solar arrays and be on its way to the International Space Station. And I believe you at NASA, you guys also showed the solar array deployment sometime, so you guys all might get to see that again later. But in summary, it takes approximately Cygnus 9 minutes
Thomas?
to get to orbit. So it takes some time, but it is pretty fast.
Well, Christina, we're looking forward to welcoming Cygnus aboard the International Space Station. And of course, we'll have you back to join us after launch as well. So do you have any final words before launch today?
No, I don't. Go Antares and go Cygnus.
All right, thanks, Christina. You just heard from Northrop Grumman, our Antares System Engineering Program Manager, Christina Halona. Stay tuned after launch for a post-launch interview with Christina again, and an interview with Jeff Arend, NASA's Systems Engineering Integration Office Manager. Again, mostly sunny skies for launch today back at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia, and temperatures are now about 83 degrees Fahrenheit at the pad.
There you go, Robert. Hell yeah. Okay, a little bit inside of 20 minutes here, guys. Anybody have any questions about Antares? I'm pretty familiar with this rocket. Actually, I could give you some fun trivia in the meantime. Did you know that Antares' core stage is made by Yuzhnoye in the Ukraine? It's actually a cut-down Zenit booster, like the boosters that were on the side of Energia Buran. Similar design. It's that, but shorter. Yep, shorter design. And another cool thing, like I said about Antares, like right at the beginning when we started covering this, is that Antares' upper stage is a vacuum-optimized Castor 30 XL composite solid rocket booster. If that made no sense to you, the upper stage is basically a big frigging firework minus the pop part. Yeah, minus the part. And it's pushing that thing into space. How can this be NASA coverage? I can hear the audio. Yep. It's gonna go southeast, Electron. Yeah, it's a south. They're launching on the descending node of the ISS, so this one's going out over the Atlantic. Do they spin it? No. This,
For later this month, the mounting bracket will enable the installation of the next pair of iROSA solar arrays at a later date. Now let's take a quick look at some of the scientific investigations traveling to the space station on this mission.
Are there any other solid fuel second stages? Vega. New science hardware and muscle cells to the space station. The International Space Station is a lab like no other. Vic! Antares. What's the whole thing about late load payload integration? Basically, if there's a payload that needs to be refrigerated or a time sensitive payload, where they need to conduct an experiment very quickly on the ISS, they'll wait until the last second to load the thing. Late load capability basically allows them to conduct experiments that are time sensitive up on the ISS. That's what they're talking about right now. Yeah, I mean, John, there's that one. That delivers a little different type of payload, though. That's what they mean. Yeah, that's what they mean. Username. Their company that was Orbital Science that they own now has been supporting it. Yeah, it's just a nicer way to say it, I guess. How long have Northrop Grumman been around? Didn't they have something to do with the Apollo program? Yeah, Grumman made the lunar lander. Before they merged with Northrop,
Discovery, go at throttle.
Grumman made the lunar lander, the Apollo LEM. They made it. Sole contractor. They were late too. David Saint-Jacques, Christina Cook right there. Hop! No, the Castor 30 has RCS on the
And of
front,
course, it's
actually,
always
yeah.
exciting for the crew to receive new experiments, but they'll also have some extra goodies arriving.
They weren't that
Lots
late,
of
Solar.
mischievous
They
treats for
conjured
the
up a
crew, just
lunar
to name
lander
few.
in 6
The
years
crew will
out
be
of
receiving
nothing,
apples,
without having any
tomatoes,
idea how to do
kiwis,
it.
Pizza kits and cheese assortments.
Oh, pizza.
CMD? Yeah, you're good. Transfer Cygnus to launch mode. In work. Copy in work.
The lander...
Coming up on 15 minutes from launch today, all
Lander was
systems are
supposed to be
still
ready
on
for
track
the
for an
Apollo
on-time
8.
launch today at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time.
Provide status of trajectory file for launch operation.
It could, Jason, yeah, pretty much.
File does not require an update.
Copy that. We'll check 403. And Ops 1 404 not required today. 405 not required.
Copy, LC.
They're going through the checklist countdown. This is stuff that you guys don't hear. The cool thing about Northrop Grumman is that they actually just broadcast their entire flight loop. That's why we heard the Verizon wireless thing that one time. Northrop Grumman just straight up doesn't care. They'll broadcast the entire flight loop, which is really cool, actually. You get to hear a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally hear. So I'm going to shut up and let you listen to it.
And OCCS ACDC armed.
ACDC confirmed.
Copy. Check 395, 396.
And OCCS configured for no adjustment to fuel level.
Why
Check
can't SRBs
397.
be that
Admin, be
precise,
advised,
Justin?
step 398 not required. Step 399 not required.
Oh, this is a great episode, Jeff. Is chat go, Kev? I think, yeah.
And
Well, I
launch
think-
team, we're coming up on T-minus
Is chat
14
go?
minutes.
You tell
We're
me.
polling for our final countdown in about a minute and a half.
I agree, Blue. It better be. No. Tessa. No go, we have an EJ.
Just to highlight some upcoming milestones,
over there.
about 12 minutes from launch, flight controllers will conduct a poll to proceed with the final launch countdown. In about 5 minutes from launch, the vehicle will switch to internal power. Then just about 3 minutes and 30 seconds before launch, auto sequence handoff for terminal countdown will be initiated, and that will mark the time the computers take over for the final milestones before launch.
054, 055, 056.
LC CMD on countdown 1.
Flight pressure.
Discovery, go and throttle.
Stand by CMD.
Hey, golfer. 1 year, man. Thank you.
Wave from 4,000.
How long have Northrop Grumman been around? Since the Apollo era?
And go ahead, CMD.
I just... Yeah.
CMD. Signatures
Northrop...
in launch mode and nominal. Roger that. We'll check 407 complete.
Pre-World War II. Alleviate. Grumman made the lunar lander. Why did Northrop and Grumman merge? Because the defense
And
industry
launch
took a
team
dump after
LC on
1991.
countdown 1 with poll to proceed with final countdown. GSO.
GSO, go.
RSL.
Ground systems, range
RSO's
systems.
go. TD. TD's go. Prop lead.
Prop leads go.
Stage 1.
Stand by, LC.
Oh,
MES1.
MES1 go.
GCE.
GC's go.
Sorry. ACE.
Aces go.
Mars.
Mars is go.
I think you're behind by a
TMD.
couple of seconds. All right. Here.
Stage 1 go. LD is go. NG.
Northrop Grumman is proud to honor accomplished NASA astronaut and the first Asian American in space, Ellison Onizuka. In our current challenging times, we reflect on Ellison's inspirational words. The people that make the world run, whose names will go down in the history books, are not the cynics, the critics, or the armchair quarterbacks. They are the adventurers,
Is this
the
what you
explorers, and
wanted?
the doers of the world. When they see a wrong or a problem, they do something about it. When they see a vacant place in our knowledge, they work to fill the void. And today, we will do just that. Aloha to the SS Ellison Onizuka. Northrop Grumman is go for launch.
What a
And a
chat.
copy. We're good to proceed with final countdown. Check 407.
Hey, Shinar, what's up, man?
Fly high, Ethan. Ops 2. Step 408. You're go to start engine evacuation.
LC Ops 2.
That's the name of the ship.
evacuation
They named
started.
Cygnus that.
And you just heard the poll to proceed with the final countdown to launch, and all teams are polling a go. And, of course, a tribute to Ellison Onizuka, who this Cygnus spacecraft is dedicated after.
So out of 10 minutes here. Yeah, Kimmy, I know it's funny. Showing, during your rocket launch coverage, it pays to, show the rocket. Just putting it out there.
Now coming up on 10 minutes away from launch, right? And everything is still proceeding smoothly for launch at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time.
Mid-Atlantic Regional, Vin. This is in Virginia.
Passing
hey, Art, what's going on?
10 minutes.
Hey, Spaceman, 75 months. Thanks.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Okay, 10 minutes out here. Which pad is this? This is pad 0A at Wallops Island?
Once we get to that launch time today, the first thing that will occur is the Stage 1 ignition, and you'll see liftoff just a few seconds after that, and those main two engines will burn for about 3 minutes and 18 seconds before cutting off, and Stage 1 will separate. Cygnus will coast for a bit until fairing separation, when the external cover that protects the spacecraft during launch will separate. The interstage adapter that connects the first and second stages will separate at about 4 minutes into flight, and then Stage 2 ignition, which is that solid rocket fuel that will burn for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Once the second stage burns out, we'll be listening for a call of orbital insertion at 6 minutes and 52 seconds after launch. The vehicle will coast for 2 minutes before Cygnus separation at 9 minutes and 9 seconds after liftoff. And at the time of launch, the International Space Station will be flying 260 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean.
Mediums enabled, voltage nominal.
That's right, Cosmos, right?
And a copy all, check 410 and check 411. Step 412 not required for today's operation.
This is from the press site here.
Now just about 8 minutes and 30 seconds to launch. Again, that next milestone we'll hear will be for the vehicle to be turned to internal power at 5 minutes out.
Yeah, qualified. I remember that. What if they're filming from the Jersey Shore? It's too far south to do that. There's a Delaware in the way, forlorn. Damn Delawares.
And we're at T-minus 8 minutes.
LC site control, GN2 conditioning initiated.
Yeah, that's it.
And I copy GN2 conditioning initiated.
All right. About 7 minutes out. Hey, Joe. Yeah, that was a good time. Yep. How does an astronaut get a hot meal? They have a kitchen up there. They have an oven. You can cook things. They press the lunch button.
Passing T-minus 7 minutes.
Now inside 7 minutes, you've been hearing teams running through some of these final milestones, and the internal power has been activated. Again, it'll be switched over to internal power at the 5-minute mark.
Okay, copy. And when you come back up in 4 minutes, will you be ready to roll?
Hope so. Stand by.
Ready to roll.
Okay, copy that.
LC prop lead, DTSO activation verified.
Roger that. Check 414. Ops 2, initialize ground ordnance power supplies.
Okay.
LC Ops 2, ground ordnance power supplies initialized.
Ground ordnance is the separator mechanism for Antares. Antares is attached to the spray piece right here
416.
via a couple of explosive bolts. They have now turned on power to the explosive ground separation systems. Here's another shot from the press site here. T-minus 6 minutes and counting.
LC site control, F-Bay ECS transfer to GN2 confirmed.
Copy that. Site control. Check 417.
What type of oven is it? An oven doesn't work in space, right? Because air can't circulate? The oven isn't outside the damn ISS, Nuclear. No, it's just an oven. It's not outside, man. They're not cooking in the vacuum, bro. Come on. Come on now.
T-minus
5 minutes and counting.
You're good. Initiate
Come on.
Engine priming started.
Okay, thermal conditioning the engines.
Transfer avionics to internal power.
It's a Suvet.
LC 1, all internal power on. Standby 5. And all external power off.
I'm sure that, Daniel, I'm sure it's a regular oven that takes that into account.
Ops 1, open FTS zombie loop.
FTS zombie loop open and green.
You just heard those calls to initiate internal power for the vehicle, so internal power is now on, and all systems are still proceeding on track for launch just 4 minutes from now.
3, 2, 1, mark. Arm command send.
SNAs, ODMs, all arms.
Oh yeah, Hali. Shinar.
Copy that. T-minus 4 minutes.
They use a Dutch oven. Nice.
LC MES 1, step 426, priming verify.
Copy that. Check 426 complete.
They have an oven.
And
guys.
TD,
Yeah.
I'll wait for your report on range status.
Okay.
LC TD, we are green. Copy, range green. Check 425. Step 427, not required. Phase 3 dynamic limits will be active at T-minus 3 minutes.
FC commanded to flight mode.
Check 429.
Three minutes.
Auto sequence start.
You'd need more than 2 Merlins.
LCTD, we're green for all systems. Green for all systems.
ODM bus voltages and currents nominal.
Copy elect 1, and I copy. TD, we'll check 430, 431. GNC 1, verify ready for nav mode.
LC GNC 1, orb nav ready for nav.
Ops 2, step 433, switch to nav.
LC Ops 2, orb nav, switch to navigate.
2 minutes and 30 seconds to launch, still counting down to that exact liftoff time at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Tanks will be pressurized at about the T-minus 40 seconds until liftoff, and we will be counting down to liftoff from there.
T-minus 2 minutes. Mark.
Guys, we're about to watch a rocket launch, and all you guys are talking about is freaking food. What's the mission today? This is an ISS resupply vehicle. It's a Cygnus capsule on an Antares 230 plus.
Through T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds.
1 minute, 30 minutes. It's that hot dog thing. Oh, don't get me started. Flip, don't do that. What was the craziest launch that I remember? I've seen one of these go off. That was pretty cool.
T-minus 1 minute.
1 minute. Here we go. Send it. Astral. Yeah, caveman, that makes sense.
40 seconds until liftoff.
Okay, so what we're going to see is the sound suppressors turn on.
T-minus 30 seconds.
And then you're gonna see the igniter, the engine ignition go off, and then separation. Right up. No, don't do this. Don't do this. Oh.
40 seconds until liftoff.
No! Oh! No! I got it. We're back up in time.
T-10.
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have engine ignition.
Main engine start.
Okay,
and
that looks
good.
good.
Off at Antares for the NG-16 mission to the Wallace Flight Facility. Engines at 100%. Attitude nominal.
The SS Ellison Onizuka now on its way to the International Space Station to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo.
Everything
Good first
looked good
stage
there.
performance so far.
EV and power subsystems are nominal.
It's supposed to do that, Bandit. It's supposed to skew off the pad. Yep. Oh.
NG-16, all systems are nominal. Engines at 100%.
RD-181 really doing work here.
Duration of stage 1 burn is approximately 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Currently at 65 seconds.
That's right, Chimera. Yeah,
Passing through
Antares moves off the pad a little bit sideways on
back to
purpose to get it away from the
Stage now
pad in
passing
case
through
something
the
goes
area
wrong.
of maximum dynamic pressure.
That really paid off for them one time. Yep.
Again, this first stage will burn for about 3 minutes and 18 seconds until main engine cutoff.
All subsystems continue to perform as expected.
Everything looks good.
Passing 70,000 feet.
Made it up that they made it up there in less than 2 minutes. It's pretty good.
Mission time plus 110 seconds. Engines continue at 100%. Core pressures nominal. All vehicle subsystems nominal. Passing 120,000 feet.
2 minutes, 20 seconds into flight, everything still proceeding nominal.
1 more minute.
Not in mission mode, Brox, no. Yeah, they'll switch to telemetry mode when it goes
Attitude
too far,
nominal.
and
All
that's what they usually do, at
performance
least.
as expected. And Terry's performance continues nominal.
I don't know, Biz. ICBMs can get to orbit real quick. Vega gets to orbit pretty fast, but most rockets
Throttle
take about
down
8 minutes.
80%.
Some take 7, some
Throttling
take 10.
down 3 minutes into
Really
flight,
depends.
main engine cutoff coming soon.
Stand by for main engine cutoff.
Throttle down to 55%.
They're throttling down the RD-181.
All systems nominal.
There's cutoff.
Stage 1 MECO.
Main engine cutoff.
We have main engine cutoff and Terry's entering into a co-stage, standing by for stage 1 separation.
Then stage 2 ignition.
Stage 1 separation confirmed.
Okay, got a good step. Stand by for Castor 30XL ignition.
And Terry's is in coast phase. Attitude nominal.
This is a nice screen.
Bearing separation.
Okay.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Okay, load reactor jettison should have happened as well.
And we have stage 2 ignition.
Good. All right.
Stage 2 will burn for roughly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. All systems continue nominal.
This is where they usually show the telemetry.
Stage 2 ignition is confirmed. Stage 2 is that solid rocket fuel that will burn for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
There we go.
Burnout will come at 6 minutes and 52 seconds into the flight today. And as we lose sight of the vehicle, we're now switching to animation.
4.5 kilometers per second.
Okay, so...
Altitude approaching 140 kilometers.
All right. Nice. Okay, so she's about halfway to orbit here. A little over
5
halfway.
minutes into flight, everything proceeding smoothly.
Okay, so we have our mission time up here.
Continues, all systems nominal.
Stage 2 flight, we have the altitude here, velocity there.
And altitude.
And if you notice that the perigee is still negative, that number needs to be positive, and it needs to more or less be very close to the apogee to circularize this thing up in orbit. You can see that this thing launched at a 51-degree inclined orbit, basically heading due southwest.
Stage 2, all systems are nominal.
Oh, you see, that's an indicator for the reaction control systems on the adapter for the SRB to Cygnus' service module firing to prevent a roll rate, to keep the roll rates down.
1 minute to stage 2 burnout.
Yeah, I know, was it right? So this is the track down here. It launched on a southeast trajectory.
Altitude 170 kilometers. All systems continue to perform as expected.
So we're a little over 100 miles up. This southeast trajectory lines up with the ISS. The ISS is in what's called a 51 degree inclined orbit. So the ISS orbit, if you're looking
30 seconds to stage 2 burnout.
If you were looking at the ISS and you were looking at the Earth with the equator, the angular difference between the equator and the ISS's orbit is about 51 degrees, so it's tilted. This thing is correlating to that tilt. You'd see by the time the engine shuts off here in the next 20 seconds, it'll be 51.6 degrees inclined. That's why that RCS is firing, because the thing is slightly taking a right-hand turn in space. And this track kind of shows that...
Stage 2 burnout.
Right-hand
all
turn?
systems
Okay.
nominal.
Stage 2...
And stage 2 burnout is confirmed.
Burnout is confirmed.
For approximately 2 minutes till spacecraft separation.
Okay. So everything looks good here. Velocity is looking good.
Antares is in orbit. Altitude nearly 180 kilometers.
Yep, see? Our perigee went positive, and it looks like it boosted the apogee up to 336. It's important to note that this is still... This is in orbit.
Attitude nominal.
But it is a decaying orbit. What they're going to do here is they're going to use the RCS to move the Cygnus capsule to a good attitude to separate the capsule, and then the SRB will come back down. This orbit is decaying. 339 by 174.
Antares continues to orient and prepare for spacecraft separation in a little more than 1 minute.
And that's how they get rid of the second stage. This is in a decaying orbit. They don't need to deorbit the second stage. It'll hit the atmosphere anytime it goes near its perigee. So the lowest point in its orbit, it'll skirt the atmosphere a couple of times and deorbit. Meanwhile,
systems nominal.
The Cygnus capsule is going to use its onboard thrusters to push itself higher into space to get it to not deorbit because it needs to go to the ISS. You can see that we're just short of orbital velocity here.
Altitude 179 kilometers.
We're just short. You need to be going about 17.5 or
roughly 30 seconds to spacecraft separation.
Closer to 8 kilometers a second. That's
standing
not me.
by for spacecraft separation.
That's not my mouse cursor. Somebody else is moving their mouse around. There you go, Blue.
Attitude nominal.
The amount of time the first stage burns for Kerolox drives you crazy. They have to have it burn for a long period of time, Shinar. We got a 3 minute burn on the first stage. That's a long time for kerosene. But it's because of that. Okay. Telemetry is indicating good spacecraft separation.
And we have spacecraft separation.
This is real.
Cygnus.
It's an animation, but that's real
separation
telemetry.
Confirmed, and Cygnus has separated from the second stage.
That looks
And
good.
Northrop Grumman teams now celebrating the confirmation of spacecraft
Stand by
separation.
for the handshakes.
Don't see with that. Flyout calls are completed.
Copy that, Ace. Okay, launch team Let's maintain protocol on station here. We're in our post-launch checklist. Prop 1's already given us step 444. Pulse purging is in progress. And GNC1, I'll wait for your call on status for step 445. State vector.
That guy.
And I copy and work. And site control, step 446, you can remove aft bay GN2 flow and reconfigure ECS to post-launch.
In work.
Core 1 LC, step 447, direct personnel to power off the MS ground equipment and report when complete.
They're going to go shut the pad off.
LC. We'll get that in work once personnel
All right, Shinar. Good night, man.
Yep, copy that. And, right, same thing for 448. Understood.
Yeah, everything looked good. The guys, that was picture perfect, man. Right on the money.
With that confirmation of successful orbital insertion, Cygnus is now on its way to the International Space Station, where it will arrive in 2 days on Thursday, August 12th, to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo.
Cygnus hat!
Back with us now from Northrop Grumman is Antares System Engineering Program Manager Christina Holona. Christina, what will the Northrop Grumman teams in Dulles do here on the ground between now until Cygnus arrives to the space station?
Yeah, so the Northrop Grumman teams in Dallas has quite a few things that they'll be doing. So they operate the Cygnus spacecraft basically now that we have been released from Antares rocket. So from separation to reach from separation to destructive reentry at the end of the mission, the Dulles team performs various operations, including initial vehicle configuration following insertion orbit, which include priming the propulsion system. They'll also have the solar array deployment as well that will be happening here with you soon here in about an hour and a half. And then they'll also be planning and executing various maneuvers to change Cygnus's orbit to rendezvous to the ISS. So that'll be continually changing throughout their maneuvers to get to the laboratory. And then there's also vehicle system checkout. So we continue to monitor the spacecraft as well to make sure it's healthy and everything is looking great on the spacecraft. And then at the end, I'll finally perform vehicle configurations to perform the final rendezvous as they arrive to the ISS.
And looking forward to Cygnus departure in November, Cygnus will perform some secondary operations. Can you go over some of those?
Yeah.
Why does Soyuz how does Soyuz get to the ISS so fast compared to the other ones? They have a lot of practice. It was literally a lot of practice.
There's one that is a passive payload from NASA called CREPI, and it stands for Kentucky Reentry Probe Experiment. And the payload will be loaded into the pressurized volume of the Cygnus with the disposable cargo items.
Bottom of node 2, John,
and then the other payload is Purple, which is short for Prototype Infrared Payload. Purple is a Northrop Grumman-built payload and will be tested and calibrated on while Cygnus's burst to the ISS.
It's a NASA PAO.
And the Purple payload actually requires 23 days of operations following departure to perform data collections and data downlink. So we still have two missions to complete after we are unberthed from the ISS. So Cygnus has a lot of work of it.
The solar panels are doing work.
Here in November.
You can see them working.
Thanks, Christina. Again, we are looking forward to welcoming Cygnus to the International Space Station, and thanks again for joining us.
Cygnus hat.
Of course, thank you.
Sorry, I just like saying that.
And now joining us is NASA Systems Engineering Integration Office Manager Jeff Arend. Jeff, how important are these resupply missions in terms of the continuing resupply of this station and the science they deliver to the crew on board?
So I guess first off, hi, Courtney. But these commercial resupply missions are very important to continue the advancing science on board the station. Over 3,000 experiments have been conducted during the station's lifetime,
Cygnus capsules have been to the ISS?
which we're now coming 15. Up on 21 years of continuous human presence.
Well, 14.
On this flight,
not including this
Cygnus is packed with more than 3,700 kilos of supplies, research, technology demonstrations, and hardware.
About 8,000
pounds.
In the
tech demo category, we're really excited to add the 4-bed CO2 scrubber. It's an upgraded version of Seadra, which is our primary CO2 removal system on board. And for hardware upgrades, we're equally excited to be flying the third IROSA mod kit, which will enable a future solar array upgrade in the future.
All right, and what's ahead for the crew on station once Cygnus arrives in terms of capture, cargo operations, and science?
He's an engineer, Kim. He's very, very excited about what he has to say.
And then a couple days, Thursday, August 12th, at approximately 5:10 Central Time, NASA astronaut Megan MacArthur will be primed to capture the spacecraft with the Canadarm2, and she's backed up by ESA astronaut Thomas Pesquet. Following capture, the flight controllers in Houston will command the installation of Cygnus on the Earth-facing side of the NG module. Will it remain for about 3 months? The crew will stay busy unpacking and conducting these research activities with the first several days being extremely critical for several experiments. The ones in particular are cardinal muscle, anti-atrophy, and cell gravasensing. The crew will also be preparing for a future spacewalk to install the mod kit on the P4 truss to prepare the station for that future solar array upgrade that I mentioned earlier. In addition to upgrading the ISS power, these arrays are also helping us prove the solar array technology that will be used on the gateway around the moon with the Artemis program. So overall, very, very exciting times for us.
Exciting indeed, Jeff. As always, thanks for your time and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate it, Courtney. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jeff. Don't touch anything. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, Chad? You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do nothing. It's just a coincidence that I chose my blue shirt today. Their shirts say Northrop Grumman on it. In case you're wondering where I got this hat, I was on the I was pressed for NG-11. I was down there, and Das and I covered that launch. No, hey, oh, no, don't take the laptop. No, hey,
Recapping some milestones today, the launch time today was moved to the back of the launch window after teams detected an apparent helium pressurization valve leak on the vehicle. The issue was quickly resolved and Cygnus lifted off from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Wallops Island, Virginia at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport Pad 0A on time at 5:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:01 and 5 seconds p.m. Eastern Time to begin its journey to the International Space Station, where it will deliver more than 8,200 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware. At the time of launch, the International Space Station was flying 260 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean. Solar array deploy is expected to occur about 1 hour and 14 minutes after launch. So, within the next hour, if all goes as planned, Cygnus will complete its solar array deployment, which will take about 30 minutes. We will not be on air for that milestone, but once that activity is complete, we will update the station webpage on nasa.gov.
Oh boy, the webpage.
With Cygnus now on its way to the International Space Station, we hope you'll join us back on air when Cygnus arrives to the station in the early morning on Thursday, August 12th. NASA television coverage for Cygnus arrival and capture will begin at 3:45 a.m. Central Time, 4:45 a.m. Eastern Time. For capture around 5:10 a.m. Central Time, 6:10 a.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll be back on air at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern for Cygnus installation operations coverage. With Cygnus now on its way to the International Space Station to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo, that'll wrap up our coverage for today.
Yes.
This is Mission Control Houston.
All right, well, NG-16, Northrop Grumman, picture perfect, dudes. That was great. Great launch. Let's see if we can get a replay. We'll send all the following shots to the same location, the ISS. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, too much. Back it up.
2, 1. Engine ignition.
Yeah, baby.
Main engine start. And we have liftoff at the
that's great, dude.
NG-16 mission, the Wallops Flight Facility. Engines at 100%. Attitude nominal.
The SS Ellison Onizuka now on its way to the International Space Station to deliver more than 8,200 pounds of cargo.
Yeah, baby.
Good first stage performance so far.
Yeah, they have it slew off the pad just a little bit. And then you should see the LOX vent go tsh, tsh, tsh. They push it off the pad a little bit in case something goes wrong. If something does happen, it'll fall down over here, which yeah, that system came in handy. Yeah, let's just say that system came in handy, and we'll just go from there.
T-minus 10.
So this first shot looks like it's looking up at the rocket engines from the sound suppressor, which is pretty crazy.
4, 3, 2.
Yeah. I'm not sure what shot this is of. Camera 38.
1.
I want to watch this in slow-mo, if you guys don't mind. It looks like you could see the explosive bolts separate here. Watch the very bottom. Watch right there. Ready? Click. Okay, engine ignition. There's 2 overpressure events, so there was a sequenced ignition there. Let me back it up just a little bit. Alright, watch. 1 engine on. Another engine on the other side. You see the cloud coming from the other side? And then check it out. Look. There's a ground side system, explosive separator that pops off here, and then the bolts are inside of the that launch table right there. Ready? Pop.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Oh, that's money. My girlfriend says I look like a moth. Thank you. Yep. It's supposed to slew off the pad, guys. That's what it's supposed to do. Yep, everything looked good. Bubba Tub, 18-month resub. That was great. Man. Pretty good. So this launches. This is from the press site. The cool thing about this, guys, is the press site at Wallops is very close. It's 2 miles. Just 2 miles away from the pad. Which is... That's very, very, very close. The press sites at KSC are 2.5 miles. And trust me, that half mile makes a big difference. It's very loud. Very loud. I love carpet. I love desk. I love lamp. I love lamp. I love lamp. Yeah. Can you imagine being 2 miles from Apollo? Oh, yep. Yeah, that would be very loud. But yeah, anyway, great launch. Everything looked real good. Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying that because you saw it? I love lamp. I love lamp. Alright, dudes. Well, that's going to do it for the NG-16 launch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, Cygnus hat. Look at that. Look at it. You can see the solar panels working. Look at that. See? You can see them working. Isn't that great? Not as great as my hat here, but isn't that awesome? Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Solar panels, you can see them working. So what did I miss in Kerbal? I don't know. I haven't played yet. I played Beam for early hours. Can you show us where on the ISS this berth? It's node 2, so right near where Dragon docks. It's right up at the front of the space station. They catch the thing with the arm. Alright, let me get the model up. I missed a couple of streams. Okay, Luke. I'll get you up to speed in a moment. Yeah, I can show you, dudes. No problem. This one is going on the Nadir of Unity. Oh, okay. So, a little bit of ways. A little bit of ways away. Here.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Do you have a Cygnus inside of Kerbal? My Sigma capsule is very close to it, actually, yes. Do you still play City Skylines? Yes. So this is up at the front of the station here, and forgive the model with all the clipping. So this port right here, this is node 2 forward. That one has nothing on it right now. This one has the Crew 2 Dragon attached to it right there. That's the Zenith port on node 2, which has PMA2 and IDA2 attached to it. So basically what they do with the Cygnus is they have the Cygnus capsule come up like right here, and then they grab it. They grab it with the RMS, not this part though. The RMS won't have Dexter on it. Right there is an attachment that they have for like people to stand on it and stuff. It won't have that highlighted part. It'll just have this. They'll grab the thing and they can berth it to one of two nodes. They could either berth it to node 1, the node 1 nadir port or nadir port right there, or the node 2 nadir port right there. It could go to either one. The last one went to this one right here. I guess that this one is going over here. These right here, this type of docking port is called an axial CBM, or actually that's not an axial, that's just a common berthing mechanism, CBM. Basically a CBM is just basically a docking port where it's not really designed for any soft capture. So with the CBM, what you have to do is you have to use something else to get whatever you're trying to dock next to it, and then all the CBMs do is basically just close latches, right? All they can do is do a hard capture. The soft capturing is done by either the robotic arm or actually, well, the robotic arm or the space shuttle's robotic arm. CBMs are what hold the station modules together on the USOS side. So the US Destiny Lab, there's Node 2, there's Columbus, there's Kibo, the Japanese module, and the Japanese experimental platform out here. There's the permanent multi-purpose module right there. There's Node 3 right there. Node 3 has the cupola attached to it. And also that. And then Beam would be attached over here. And then the Astrobotic, or not Astrobotic, what is it, Nanorax? Nanorax has the module, has that attached, has their module attached there. On the back part of the Unity port right here, where would Starliner go? Starliner's going to dock to this one. This is the forward node right here. The Crew 2 Dragon actually relocated up here the other day. They relocated because they want this port open. Have you added Nauka? I have, actually. I took Zarya and I modified it to make it look like Nauka. Yeah, so I do have it right there. This is the Russian side, the ROS, the Russian operational segment. It consists of 5 modules right now. You have Zarya, Zvezda, Poisk, Nauka, and Rasvet. This module was just added the other day. The Nauka science module. And then Prichal, a universal module, a utility module, will be attached down here. And it's basically a 6-axis node that kind of looks like that. It basically has 6-axis docking ports on it, so it can support multiple spacecraft docked to it. It's a docking ring for Soyuz, basically. And then up here you have the truss segment here. There's the S0 truss segment, S1, S2, S3, and S4, and then P1, P2, P3, P4. And then there's the Z1 truss segment right here, which has the ISS's gyroscopes. That's where the gyros are. They're in the Z1 truss segment. Six-axis node for one Soyuz or Progress to attach. Hey, they're prototyping it for the Russian space station. It's prototyping. They're using the ISS to prototype it. Yeah, my pick, Z fighting, I know. And over here, just because I'm covering all of them, over here is the Quest airlock. Yeah, that's basically, they basically took a shuttle airlock, the same thing, and they attached it to a module with a CBM on it. That's it. Yeah, use what works. Hey, Star Knight. Bonjour. Did you build this? I ripped this from NASA, Lazy Toad. If you want to see stuff that I've made, just on a quick side note, here. Yes, I'm going to show it, chat. I'm going to show it. Deal with it. There isn't even a... Isn't there an inflatable module up there? Beam. It's an expandable, not an inflatable. Yeah. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, I've modeled stuff like this. And these are Atlas V parts. Atlas V AJ60s, payload fairings, Centaur upper stage. Yeah, got a bunch of stuff. I even have a BE4 in here, I think. Sad ULA pack noises. Yeah, don't get me started, man. Got a bunch of good stuff. I modeled that in one stream. How far did you get with your Starship model the other day? Please hold. We started working on the locks downcomers on the thrust puck. Yeah, that's what we were working on. Holding. What happened to the ULA pack? It got stuck in development hell because the ULA wanted to use the names. They wanted to use the names, and then they had to get released on that, and then I don't know where it went from there. Yep. See? Starship parts. We modeled all the bulkheads, forward bulkheads, aft bulkheads, rings, nose cones. And then I started putting them together to make a super heavy and a Starship. See it? Pretty cool, huh? All your models to scale? All the Atlas stuff is scaled correctly. This is to scale as well, yeah. Yeah, if you really want to know. There's the locks downcomer. We didn't finish that, but... He's tweeted about it and he said soon. I don't know what that means. Maybe they're working on it, dude. I don't know. I haven't talked... I'll be honest, guys. I haven't talked with him about it in a long time. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed.